Pandalicious. Hi guys, and welcome to the first episode of Pandalicious. On tonight's menu is a Jalapeno Popper Chicken. I found this recipe on allthecooks.com, and you can find the recipe by clicking this annotation or in the description below. Well, I first cooked this recipe for my mom and sisters in Malaysia, and it was absolutely gorgeous. So I made a few modifications this time to suit the needs of my family here in Japan. Well, the reason for this is when I first showed the recipe to my wife and my dad, they were like, yeah, they were just going to pass out because of the calorie content in the recipe. Japanese people are not used to the very oily and unhealthy American food. Okay, I'm still feeling a bit tense, so I need to lighten up. Much better. Without further ado, please strap yourselves in and enjoy your Pandalicious ride. Okay, so what I've done with the recipe is that I've prepared it for 2 servings for 2 people instead of 6 as the original recipe asked for. I removed the mayonnaise from the recipe and also the bacon. Well, I removed the bacon because I think it's a bit of an overkill just to add the bacon in. I think it tastes absolutely wonderful even without it. But if you want the extra flavor, then please go ahead and add the bacon and the mayonnaise. And if you have something against pork, then please feel free to use turkey bacon instead. I think that's an absolutely wonderful decision. Okay, so this is what you need for recipe. 2 chicken breasts. I've flattened it with a meat tenderizer. Next up, we have the onions, about 1/4 of an onion, sliced and diced. Then we have 1 jalapeno, deveined, deseeded, and chopped up just like this. And next up we have the cheese mixture, which is Philadelphia cream cheese, cheddar, and Parmesan, all mixed up. And lastly, we have I have half a sleeve of Ritz, completely crushed, mixed with Parmesan and melted butter. And that's basically what you need for this recipe. Alright chums, let's start cooking! Okay, first things first, add in some olive oil, about 2 tablespoons worth. What I'm doing right now is that I'm going to pan sear the chicken instead of just adding it into the oven first. Basically what pan searing does is that it just gives it a nice little crust, and also it preserves the juice inside the chicken, so when you eat the chicken breast it's a bit nice and juicy. So when you're going to add the chicken, make sure that the pan is searing hot because you just want it to seal all the juices in. So yeah, basically just pan sear it for a bit. You don't need to turn the chicken so much, just turn it up once on one side each so that it just traps the juice inside. And when you see that there's a crust forming, that's about it. You're done with the chicken and you can just put it in the oven. Okay, when the chicken's ready, just put it in the oven. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to preset my fan force oven at about 220 degrees Celsius. And I'm going to leave it in there for about 15 minutes. Okay, next up, we're going to we're going to just saute the onions. Just saute the onion up nice until it's nice and soft. It's absolutely up to you how do you want your onions to be like. I prefer it to be just nice and soft. It doesn't need to be crispy. And once your onions are nice and soft, add in the jalapenos. And I can tell you right now, the smell is amazing. If you want your your chicken to be a bit more on the spicy side, you can go ahead and add the seeds and you don't need to remove it when you're chopping up the jalapeno. I absolutely love it to be spicy, but well, I have two family members who can't really take spicy stuff well. And just pan fry it for a bit until it's all nice and soft. And while it's piping hot, just add the onion and jalapeno mixture into the cheese mixture. Make sure that you land the hot stuff onto the cheddar because that's the one that takes a while to melt. Now just mix up everything nice and evenly. Make sure the cheddar is completely melted up while you're trying to mix the cheese. Once it's all nice and mixed up, you're pretty much done with the cheese. Voila! Okay, once the chicken's done, now all you need to do is just layer up the cheese on top. Spread it out nice and evenly. Don't worry if some of the cheese just drops down or anything, you can just scrape it to the side of the chicken. Make sure to cover it up evenly because you don't want it to turn up into a mess once it's done in the oven. Okay, next up you want to add in the Ritz mixture to make the crust of the chicken. Just spread it out around evenly. And as usual, if you have stuff dropping by the side, just scrape it to the side of the chicken just for it to form the edges. Don't worry if you're going to make a mess. It's all the fun about cooking. Okay, once you're done with putting up all the toppings onto the chicken, you're gonna put it in the oven at about 180 degrees Celsius for about 10 minutes, and that should be it. If you've done things right, you'd have a really juicy and tender chicken with a cheesy and heaty crust that will make anyone's day a Pandalicious day. To rate this recipe, I'd give it a 4 out of 5 for taste and a 4 out of 5 for ease. A great tasting recipe that isn't too hard to cook. I hope you guys will try it out. Thank you for watching my videos, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please spread the word that Pandalicious is in town to your family and friends. And as always, I hope you all will have a Pandalicious day.